So whether you're in a period of reinvention, or you just finally want to start taking risks, or you want to start listening to that voice that's nudging you to try this new thing, for whatever reason, you decided to embark on this journey with me, and so you got the 2025 Potential Planner, and I am so excited that you did. By the end of this video, you're gonna have so much clarity about your vision for the year and your vision for your life. So this video is gonna be split up into two parts. The first part, I'm gonna help you through the technical side, getting in the planner, doing a little walk through how the technical things work, and then we'll get into actually doing the prompts together. So let's get into it. So the way that you have access to the Potential Planner is you'll get access to a link. And when you click on that link, it will take you to this dashboard that I'm showing you here right now. Now, you do not have access to edit this as it is. So what you need to do is click on this icon at the top that says duplicate, and then you will duplicate it and you will be able to edit that file. So now once you've duplicated it, you will have access to edit this. One of the best things about Notion is that you can completely customize it. So if you have some of your own Notion templates already and you would like to add pieces to it, you definitely can. So that's great. The only thing about Notion is just because you can add elements does not mean that you should. When I've looked into Notion before, a big barrier to me actually integrating it and using it into my everyday life is that there are a lot of features that end up being disconnected. Here's this clock widget, and here's this prompt, and here's a Kanban board, and here's your to-do list, and here's your calendar, and there are all these things, and they're not talking to each other. There's not a flow. There's not like an overhead view that says, okay, these all go together. And the reason that that's a problem is because your mind does not feel clear. It says, okay, I need to check my Kanban board, I need to check the to-do list, I need to check the calendar, and it has like, hey, did I check everywhere? I'm not sure if I checked everywhere. So you need to keep it simple, and all the prompts in this Potential Planner funnel down into one location so that on a daily basis, you check one location and your brain doesn't need to think, did I check everywhere? It's all taken care of and it's all accounted for. So in the course of making this Notion dashboard, I was very tempted to add more things to it because it's very clean and simple. But after adding things and then taking things away and really, getting in the weeds with this for hours and hours and weeks, I really came back to simple is better. A lot of times what people don't like about Notion is that it's too complicated and that they don't feel like they have everything under control. A very big con of Notion, by default, it does not have that great task management, but I think that I have kind of resolved that here. Okay, so without further ado, let's have a little tour of this dashboard. So on a daily basis, this screen is what you would be looking at, the daily dashboard. And if you do not want to get into all of the yearly planning, quarterly planning yet, if you don't have time to set aside to that, you can just start with the daily planning right here. But this follows this time funnel system, which I will explain. And so either the yearly prompts get chunked down to quarterly, to monthly, to weekly, then to daily. So when you have some time, I recommend you set aside 2 hours, light a candle, get a drink, go ahead and take some time to really put energy into the prompts. So I'm going to start here with this time funnel. So we have these 4 icons about yearly planning, quarterly planning, monthly planning, and weekly planning. So I'm just gonna double click on one of these and it opens up this new window. Now, do not be deceived by how simple this looks because everything's in a toggle. There is so much meat underneath all of these toggles. The first toggle, I just have like a little intro note for myself, your potential self, then this link about how to use the workbook. And the first prompt is your head in the clouds. So throughout this planner, there's this metaphor of this mountain going on. But before we begin trekking up the mountain, we're gonna actually start with our head in the clouds. And the reason we're doing this is to remove any constraints. We have spent so much of our lives shape-shifting ourselves to fit into the world that eventually all we see is constraints. We don't actually see the big potential. We stop dreaming big enough because we're like, oh, we can't do this because of this and this and this. So just for one exercise, we're going to imagine a magical world. There's elves, teleportation, it's a perfect world and it does not have the constraints of Earth. And what would that world look like if it would magically fit all of your preferences? Do you have a mile-long library upstairs? Do you simultaneously live in the remote countryside and 1 minute from downtown New York City? Just really getting in the picture of like, what would be perfect? It's endless July. It's never February. What would really be perfect about a world for you? And I have listed here in this toggle an example, and you can just delete this. Any of this stuff, if you don't like it eventually, it's so customizable so you can delete it. This is the prompt that everything funnels down from. So this is the most important prompt. None of these prompts are disconnected from each other. They're all a funnel that eventually will get put on the calendar. So if you just trust the process, the more you put into it, the more you'll get out of it. And so this is the prompt I recommend spending the most amount of time on. I recommend putting on some music, spend half an hour, really get in touch with this. The more that you put into this and the clearer you see it in your mind and the more you emotionally connect with it, the more everything else is gonna flow from it seamlessly. So after we do the head in the clouds exercise, we have this peak potential exercise. Now this is kind of a mixture of the head in the clouds magical world but also mixed in with a little dose of reality. So it's like the head in the clouds exercise in that you have all the time, all the freedom in the world. But it's a little different in that there's no elves, there's no teleportation. It does have the constraints of Earth, but it's like a perfect Earth. And in this case, I want you to write it like an ideal day. So you say, I wake up to a minimal home in Sausalito with bay windows overlooking the ocean. I live across the street from the water, so I wake up and paddleboard over. And you could even write longer than this, but I just wanted to kind of get you started. You're writing this in the present tense, this ideal day in a perfect world. And again, this is not the time to be realistic. This is not the time to put constraints on yourself, because if you trust the process, I promise that as we go down, there will be more and more constraints. But in these first two exercises especially, this is the time to dream big, to expand your horizons, to write down things that give you chills, that make you tear up a little bit, things that really are so magnificent that you would just be like awestruck if they really happened in your life. So now we're gonna do a little compare contrast with your current life and your dream life. So let's say in your dream life you went paddleboarding every morning, but in your current life you never paddleboard. So you would write, okay, in my dream life, I paddleboard every day, but in my current life, I don't really ever paddleboard. And then there's this column for both. So maybe in your dream life, you bike every day, and also in your current life, you do. So that's a way that they're similar. So you'll write that down. So you're going line by line through that peak potential and putting it here. And if you notice that mountain metaphor is running through, so that peak potential, it's like the peak of the mountain. We are now getting our feet on the ground a little bit more, especially by outlining in this table. Then we have where the rubber starts meeting the road, the first domino. So when you look at your current life versus your dream life, there will be some things that are only in your dream life. And of those things, there should be some things that stand out as more important and more significant than others. You could even, if you wanted to rate them on a scale of 1 to 10 of how game-changing would this be if this were different. Maybe it's having a different partner or a different job or living in a different place. Which one of these things would truly be the most game-changing? And like if you want to be an artist for a living, for example, maybe you can't do that in a year. So this is not, don't think that this is a yearly goal exercise. This is not. This might be something that takes you 5 years to complete, but no matter how long it takes, because the time's going to pass anyways, what is the thing we want to go after first? I love the quote, a rising tide lifts all boats, or in this case, a rising life lifts all goals. What I've noticed is if I pick the biggest, most unrealistic thing that I really love, that is like the biggest domino, it then starts knocking over all my other goals because you just get happier and you get more energy. I found that once I started pursuing YouTube, I ended up being able to move to San Francisco, which is really sunny. And unbeknownst to me, without even trying, I started hitting a lot of these fitness goals. I didn't really set any fitness goals, but I just did because I was happier and I was in a sunnier place. And so when you just start feeling more alive and more happy, these things just start ticking over. So you want to pick the biggest one, not the most realistic, not plan B, not which one's going to be the quickest, but the biggest domino that will truly knock over all the others. If you pick the smallest domino, like I want to drink 3 glasses of water a day or something, it's not going to be big enough to tip over these other dominoes. So you can eventually go after more, and we will address more things later on. But a lot of times planners will say, okay, I want to set a morning routine and I want to set fitness goals and food goals and relationship goals, and I want to have a well-balanced wheel of life. And it's true that we do not want to regress in any of these areas of life, but it's like trying to dig a well and hit water. So you like dig a little bit at fitness and you dig a little bit at relationships and you dig a little bit at career, and that you just keep hopping around all your efforts without hitting water. But what is better is to get those all at a maintenance level, but you pick one that you want to really progress in, and you dig at it and you dig at it and you dig it until you hit water, and that is now sustaining you and nourishing you, and it's just kind of, it's a well all on its own right. Then you can move on to another one. So eventually you will have all these wells kind of flowing, but you cannot like put all your efforts into multiple at the same time. So then I have some examples here. It's really just a short kind of sentence here. Do you want to have the freedom to control your own schedule by having your own business? Do you want to live on a home on the ocean? Do you want to have a ranch in Colorado? Do you want to visit 30 countries? Do you want to paint for a living? You know, just kind of a short blurb. What is the first domino that might take several years, but it's the first thing that you want to go after? Okay, now we're going to identify the soul of the goal. It's kind of the why. What need does it meet? For example, I have this example here. If you want to have a ranch in Colorado, is it you want that for stability? Do you want peace and quiet? Do you want family-centered time? Do you want lots of space? There's lots of reasons maybe you would want that thing. So I want you to list first all of your reasons, and then after you list all your reasons, I want you to rate them on a scale of 1 to 10. And there should be one or two that really stand out to you and maybe like, oh, it would represent to me quiet calm or peace or solitude. And so you will write down then, the soul of my goal is, and that might inform the theme of the year. So if for you they're the same, you think like, okay, I really want this solitude and this peace, maybe that is the theme of the year. And if it's not, maybe think of, okay, what do I want the theme of my year to be? Okay, so continuing the mountain metaphor, now we are at this year's goal summit. This is one of my favorite pages in the whole thing. So what I found was in setting goals, a lot of people need a little bit of structure. They need a template to follow, and SMART goals is really falling short. So what I have here is the who, the what, and the how. And then we also have listed the why. So I want you to think, what do I think my goal for the year could be? Okay, maybe I can't have a ranch in Colorado because finances are not really there. So maybe the first thing that I can get this year is I need to start my online Etsy shop. Whatever it is to you, what piece of it can you chunk off in a year? And I will help you make it more specific in a second, but I want you to just kind of draft, what do I think I could get done in a year? And I want you to think, is it game changing? Does it give you chills? Does it make you tear up, make you feel a little nervous? If it makes you feel those things, then you're on the right track. If it doesn't make you feel those things, this is not the type of goal we're setting. We are not setting the type of goals to drink 3 glasses of water per day. Game changing, huge goals. So the first question, number 1, who do you want to be by the end of the year in relation to this goal? Do you want to be an artist by profession? Do you want to be an author, a YouTuber, a business owner? So I want you to give yourself a noun. Like, what do you want to call yourself? And if you want to add an adjective to it, that'd be great. Like, do you want to be a consistent YouTuber? Do you want to be a creative artist? So you can add an adjective and a noun, but what do you want to call yourself in relation to this goal? Okay, 2. What do you want to have by the end of this year in relation to the goal? Do you want to have a website, 1,000 subscribers, a $1,000 per month business, a book to hold in your hands? So the what gives you something flashy to look at. Now, we're not going to chunk based on this because this is a lot of times an outcome goal that we do not have 100% control over. If we post more YouTube videos, we're more likely to have more subscribers, but there's not a 1-to-1 correlation that you post one YouTube video, therefore you get 10 subscribers. There's no correlation per se. So you don't have 100% control. Your actions certainly affect it, which we will draft later, but this is just kind of something flashy. We're not guaranteed to get it, but we really want this thing. Like, we would really like to have this thing. So the next question is, how are you going to do it? So if you want to have 1,000 subscribers, are you going to post videos on social media? Are you going to create digital products? If you want to be an author, are you going to write a rough draft? How are you going to do it? And then I'm making this question a little bit more specific with number 3, how many will be in the final result? So if you want to post videos on social media, will that be 52 videos this year? If you want to create digital products, how many? Will that be 4 digital products? Use numbers to quantify. And then again, why do you want it? In other words, what was the soul of your goal? Going back to the previous toggle, the soul of your goal. So now we're going to put this all together in a goal setting template, which if you remember from the daily dashboard, this goal statement will be on your daily dashboard. Like I said, everything gets funneled through if you follow the process. So for example, by the end of 2025, I will be a money-making artist with an Etsy shop that makes at least $1,000 per month by creating 4 digital passive products and posting 52 YouTube videos so that I will feel creative every day. Blank number 1, 2, 3, and 4. And you're just filling in those numbers for your goal statement. And if it feels a little scary and exciting, you're on the right track. So you have a goal for the year. This is so exciting. Okay, so this year's mountain, continuing this mountain metaphor, we are going to tie this all together. So you're going to fill in your goal statement, but then we're going to chunk quarterly results. This is something I'm a huge stickler about. Most planners, the vast majority of planners, if they want to set a quarterly goal, they're like, okay, quarter 2 goal. So at the start of quarter 2, I'll set my quarter 2 goal. No, it is too late. We do not set monthly goals at the start of the month. We don't set weekly goals at the start of the week. By that time, it is too late. You need to have top-down alignment, bird's eye view. When you get to weekly planning, you should actually be chunking your days. When you get to the month, you should be chunking your weeks. We are going to chunk the how portion of this. So for example, if you wanted to have 4 digital passive products and 52 YouTube videos, that how many, that's what we're going to chunk because we have complete control over that. We don't have complete control over $1,000 per month business or 1,000 subscribers, but we do have complete control over our actions. So we're going to chunk backwards. A lot of times people will set, okay, I want to have this many videos, so I'm going to go forward, but you want to kind of chunk backwards, especially like if it's something like writing a book, you might think, okay, so I need the editing phase done, the rough draft phase done, the outlining phase. When you think of it in like these 4 distinct phases, it can really help. So in this case, it's pretty easy. It's just like 52 videos and 3 digital products will need to be done by the end of quarter 4. So maybe by the end of quarter 4, you need 52 videos posted and 4 digital products created. By the end of quarter 3, 39 videos posted and 2 digital products. By the end of quarter 2, 26 videos and 1 digital product. And maybe by the end of quarter 1, 12 videos, and just create the Etsy account. So this is where we're starting to chunk it back into 4 distinct pieces. Okay, so that is yearly planning. That is so exciting. If you want to take a break, this is a good time to take a break, and you can come back and do this in the next session. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the homepage, the Potential Planner. You could also click Time Funnel. Either one will take you back. After we've done yearly planning, we're going to move into quarterly planning. When you open up quarterly planning, you've got these quarter 1, quarter 2, quarter 3, and quarter 4. So I'm going to open up quarter 1. So like I said, you should never set a quarterly goal at the start of the quarter. That should actually be done at the yearly level. So we're going to write here is we're going to rewrite what was our quarter 1 result. So let's say that our quarter 1 result was having 12 videos posted to a YouTube channel. So we're just rewriting it. Now I had the thought, okay, how about I could make it auto-populate so that when they write their quarter goal, it posts right here. But there is something about rewriting something and realigning with the vision. And so I know it seems less efficient, but it's actually more effective to rewrite it when given the opportunity to choose effectiveness over efficiency anytime. Let's say my goal was I want to have 12 videos posted to a YouTube channel. So I'm going to chunk that into monthly outcomes. So I'll post 4 videos in March, 4 videos in February, and 4 videos in January. So now every quarter, we're going to get into outline our priorities. I have this maximize the soul of your life and minimize everything else. So the soul of your life are things like the happiness of pursuing this good outcome, hobbies, things that bring you joy, time spent with important people. This is the soul of your life. And when we look at a calendar, we want to be maximizing and maximizing and maximizing that thing. And then we want to minimize everything else. So I have 2 parts here. One is the soul list. So we're going to practice maximizing that. And then we have this everything else that we're going to practice minimizing. Okay, so we have this soul list. You're going to list 30 things that bring you joy. And I want you to really list 30 things because we need to be proactive with how we spend our time. A lot of times we get to, a Tuesday evening, we don't really have anything planned, so we'll just go on our phone. And if you don't have anything better to do than going on your phone, then why wouldn't you go on your phone? It's the most fun thing that you're looking at a time. So what we want to do is plan in things that are legitimately more fun so that it's not difficult to get off your phone. It's just easy because we've outlined things that are legitimately more fun. So is it things like taking a bath with a bath bomb, reading, building a Lego kit, going on a solo date by yourself, going to tiki bars, going paddleboarding. These are things that I like to do, but you're just writing down what are 30 activities that I like to do. So now we get into another one of my favorite parts, which is the concept of minimum viable routines. So you may have heard the concept minimum viable product, but these are minimum viable routines. So a lot of times when people talk about routines, they're like, okay, we're gonna outline the perfect morning routine, a perfect food routine, perfect fitness routine, and we're gonna be just so great in all these areas of life. But that is so difficult, especially when you're putting so much concentrated effort onto changing the number one thing that could move the needle in your life. A lot of times, if you're pursuing, you wanna be an artist by profession, for example, or you wanna start a YouTube channel, you're doing something new, which means you're growing, which means you're not good at it yet. So it's already a little vulnerable. So it's vulnerable and it's taking up time and you're not quite efficient at it yet because you're trying something new. And that is all a lot of effort. And I want you to protect your mental space and understand that it's a lot of effort to go after that thing. So everything else needs to be minimum. We are not doing the perfect morning routine. We are doing the minimum routine that would still be viable. So viable means it's still effective. We're not regressing. Like when you think of a fitness routine, for example, we're not becoming unhealthy. We're not regressing. It needs to still be viable. But what's the minimum amount of effort I could put into it that would still be viable? And I want to caveat this by saying, if any of these fall into the soul of your life, then by all means maximize away. For example, cooking and meal routines are not something that's part of the soul of my life, but some people really like cooking. So in that case, by all means, maximize away that thing. But the reason we're minimizing these things is because when you say yes to something, an extensive, really long routine, you are saying no to the soul of your life. Important time with important people, pursuing your hobbies, things that really just bring you joy and light you up. So it's not that these things are bad. It's good to have a clean house and meal routines and things like that, but they're not as important as the soul of our life. And a lot of people are aware that there are things that regress their life, like TV or being on the phone, that regresses you. But unbeknownst to a lot of people, the maintenance of life, the living in your life, maintaining it, it just seeps into everything. And before you know it, all you do is work and maintenance, work and maintenance, work and chores. We're going to identify minimum viable routines. So if I click on meal routines, for example. And by the way, if you don't like any of these photos, it's very easy to change. You can just click change cover. And I actually like to go to Unsplash and you can get free images there and type in what you want. And so you're gonna list what a minimum viable routine for you would be. For me, for example, for meal routines, this is the minimum it's ever gotten. I go to the grocery store, I pick out 4 carbs, 4 veggies, and 4 proteins, put them in the cart. Every night when I cook, it takes like 15 minutes. I just pick one carb, one veggie, one protein. I cook those things. It's not like a recipe where you're mixing anything together. It's just kind of like 3 distinct things. You got like corn on the cob with salmon, with some Harvest Blend couscous or something. And it's just 3 distinct things. It takes like 15 minutes. It's very easy. Have that for dinner, have the leftovers for lunch, protein shake in the morning for breakfast. And so that's what I've done. That's minimum and viable for me. And the reason we're doing this is so that we can say yes to the soul of our life. So once we've done that, we are going to outline our ideal week. And like I said, these are not separate prompts that don't talk to each other. This is all funneling down. So we're taking that soul of our life and we're taking those minimum viable routines and we're placing them in this ideal week schedule. So you don't have to worry, you don't have to go back and constantly be checking other places. It all gets funneled down. So it's kind of 4 steps. First, you're gonna start by time blocking fixed things that absolutely will not change this quarter, like a 9-to-5 job. And this is just your ideal week for quarter 1. I mean, if your work schedule varies, you can just kind of place in what an average is or what it was last week, but be sparing with the things that are genuinely fixed. I would say don't go much beyond a 9-to-5 job. I know you probably have other commitments that you probably will do throughout quarter 1, but it's not legitimately fixed probably. Okay, next you're gonna block off time for your number 1 goal. So if you wanna work on starting a YouTube channel, when are you going to put that? Are you going to do that from 8 to 9? Are you like, how much time can you really devote to it? And that is the next thing that you want to put in. Now, I would experiment if you haven't done something like this before. I would just experiment with what time works for you. Like in my case, I thought that after work would be the best. And then after experimenting, it was actually before work that would be the best, despite not being a morning person, which is why that wasn't my first choice. So I want you to figure out, how much time can you spend? I recommend an hour per day. I wouldn't go too much beyond that. A lot of times people are like, okay, gung-ho at the beginning, and then they kind of fall off and burn out. So if you can actually just kind of hold back, slow up, an hour per day, and it's a marathon, not a sprint, and you can hold that out. So now you're gonna focus on living your life. And so I want you to look at your soul list. Think about, date nights, time with friends. What do you wanna do? And what I noticed when I did this exercise personally is I had a good idea of what I wanted to do on weekends. These are the type of fun things I wanna do. I wanna do like a seasonal event or explore my city. These are fun things I do on the weekends. But weeknights, I hadn't really clearly outlined what I like to do on weeknights. And so therefore it's like, no wonder there's so much time spent like on the phone or computer or TV. It's because there's nothing more fun to do instead. Instead of being proactive with the soul of my life, I'm just kind of reacting to, oh, look, this thing on my phone is interesting. So I want you to think about, how do you want to spend your evenings? Do you want to do a nice bath with bath bomb, Legos? What would be relaxing to you? And really maximize the soul of your life. And as you're filling this in, you don't have to get this to 100% full. I recommend, like, a lot of times when people time block, they will completely fill things in, but I just recommend like 60%, get it 60% full. And then we will fit in routines around everything else. I did this in intentional order, the most important things to the least important things, which are these routines and chores. We do not want to be spending so much of our life on chores. So now you're going to go back to these minimum viable routines. I did have a space for if you have other routines, like if you have kids or other routines that you have. And now we're going to take these routines and we are going to place them on this ideal week. And this ideal week is going to be referenced throughout the planner. So really put some time and focused energy into this, because this all funnels down, like I said. So the more work and the better effort you put into these beginning prompts, the better it will be as time goes on. Woo, so that is quarterly planning. If you would like to take a break, this is a good spot to take a break. I will see you in the next session. So if I click back at potential planner, now we go to monthly planning. You can click on which month. Let's say we're going to January. So first we are going to start by reviewing last month. What amazing things happened? What am I proud of myself for? When did I step out of the box or step out of my comfort zone? So you write these things that were amazing about last month. And then you make a little month bucket list if you want. So when you click on these, they're just cards. They're kind of just placeholders. And so you can just click change cover for whatever it is. These are just kind of just placeholders. You can click change cover, go to Unsplash and type in whatever it is you want to do that month. And so you can think, what do I want to do this month? Then we are going to rewrite our month result. And again, we identified this during quarterly planning. You do not make your monthly goal at the start of the month. You do that at the quarter. So we're going to rewrite this. During quarterly planning, we said our month result was we wanted to have 4 YouTube videos posted. How are we going to chunk that down by week? So maybe a nice easy way to chunk this is 1 per week. Then there are check boxes here. Add these things to the calendar. So you're going to add your bucket list to the calendar. And this will sync with your calendar. So if you click open in calendar, you give it access to Google. Now, here's the thing about calendar. And so when you add something here, if you click open in calendar, it will then show up there if you click this little eyeball so that the monthly plan is shown. So whenever I add something on my Notion dashboard, it will add it to this Notion calendar. And I can also click view, and this would be, I won't click it here because it'll show my personal events, but then it would also show my Google calendar. So the one main principle that I have when it comes to task management is that you should have one place for things so that your brain doesn't feel like, okay, I need to check my to-do list and my Kanban board and my calendar and my Notion. I need to check all these places, and you don't feel relaxed. And so you end up just feeling kind of manic. Everything needs to get funneled down to one location, and that location needs to have time assignment capabilities, it needs to have task management capabilities, and the best thing for that is a calendar. There is nothing better, there's not one better place than a calendar. Anytime you think of something, I see a calendar as the monthly messy dashboard. Anytime I think of something, if I think, I want to go to an outdoor movie next summer. Okay, well, this year they started in June, so the earliest I would need to know about it, let's say, is June 1st. So I would just go to June 1st, plop it in there. And when I get there, because it's digital, it's so nice you can just get rid of it if it turns out you don't want it. The point of it is not so much to put all this stuff on the calendar that you have to do it. If I say that I'm going to go to an outdoor movie in 6 months, I have to go. But it's just, the point is to keep your mind clear. The whole getting things done philosophy, if you haven't read that book, I highly recommend it, is you use your mind to think about things like creativity and like intellectually stimulating things, not use your mind to think of things, tasks, chores. You don't want your brain constantly like, don't forget to do this, don't forget to do this, don't forget to do this. Anytime you have a task, immediately write it down. So if you think, okay, my sister's birthday is coming up, so I would put that on the calendar. But in addition to that, I would also put, okay, I need to buy her a present, and when do you need to do that? A lot of times people use calendars for just events and these kind of nouns per se. That's like, okay, sister birthday, great, that's the event. But what are the actions that you're going to need to do? If you only have her birthday on the calendar, it's going to be too late and then the present's not going to arrive. Anytime you put something on the calendar, you have to think of it like a project. Okay, what are the tasks and steps that need to go on the calendar? So you get it full, you get it messy. Once we get to weekly planning, we will streamline it. And if there's things on there we don't want, we will delete them. But it's better to initially start with a messy brain dump as opposed to having like, okay, this is my idea database and this is my book reading database and this is all this stuff. When do you want to do it? Realistically, okay, you've got this great video idea. When do you want to do it? Okay, well, the earliest I'd want to do it is next month, so put it February 1st. If you know the day you want to do it, put it to the day. If you know the week you want to do it, but you don't know what day, put it at the start of that week, the earliest you could do it. If you know what month you want to do something, but you don't know the week, just put it at the start of the month. A lot of times when I've coached people on using a digital calendar, I'll just say on Sunday, put that stuff. Like if you know what week you want to do something, but you don't know what the day, just fill it in Sunday, the beginning of that week. So if you are just getting started with this whole concept of getting things done and keeping your mind clear, you might not have much on the calendar. So you're gonna Google getting things done trigger list. This will open a PDF. What you're gonna do is you're gonna work your way down the list and it will trigger some things. So you might see this upcoming events, birthdays. So you think, okay, I'm gonna add all the birthdays I can think of, all the anniversaries, any weddings, graduations, outings. And so you're gonna add all of those events, but also any tasks associated with like present buying, for example. Maybe you scroll down and you see data backup and you're like, oh, my external hard drive is full. I need to buy another external hard drive. So you think to yourself, when do I want to do this? Okay, well, the best time might be to do it Saturday. So you write that task and you put it on the calendar. Anytime you have any sort of task, near, far, easy task, long task, a project, put it on the calendar. Okay, so that is monthly planning. So this is a good time to take a break if you want, and I will see you in the next session. Okay, so now we are going to get into weekly planning. As this time funnel goes on, it should take less and less amounts of time. So I recommend to do a couple hours for that first year and quarter. But once you get down to weekly planning, maybe it just takes 20 minutes every Sunday evening. I like to make weekly planning a ritual. This is the number one thing I think that changed my life, is getting your week all set up, being proactive with how you want to spend your time and not reactive. So you're going to rewrite your weekly result. So if you said you wanted to have 4 videos out by the end of this month, that means you need to have 1 YouTube video out this week. So you're referencing your monthly plan for that big goal. Now we're going to chunk that into daily results: Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. So if I want to have 1 YouTube video out, maybe the first day I need to outline it. What's the title and thumbnail going to be like? Film it on Tuesday, rough edit the video on Wednesday, final edit on Thursday, and then create the thumbnail and post it on Friday. I did not want to make 52 pages of weekly planning, 1 for each week of the year. So the way this is going to work is, if you're someone who likes to see a backlog of everything you've done, you could duplicate all this, hit Command-C to copy it, then you could paste it and put it in a toggle to hide it. I'm not someone who even cares about the backlog. So if it were me personally using this, I would just erase it each week. So the next week, I erase this. Then you're gonna review anything already on your calendar below. So these are synced. Whatever was on the monthly calendar gets synced to this weekly calendar. Once it's connected, of course, it will sync. So the first step in weekly planning is you're gonna review anything that's already on your monthly calendar. So you go look at your monthly calendar, see what's on there. Then you're gonna add 1 hour each day to work on your daily result of the week. So you click add item, new task, I might say outline, YouTube video. So when I click on the date, click include time, And so this is where you can take everything that was on that monthly spread and put it on this clean weekly spread to get your outline for the week. So you're gonna add in 1 hour each day to work on your daily result, your big goal. And then you're gonna reference your ideal week from quarterly planning to fill in things that maximize the soul of your life. So fill in those things that add to the soul of your life, doing Legos, taking a nice bath, exploring your city on the weekend, bucket list, minimal routines, add those things to the calendar. So basically what we have then is we have this monthly plan that when we show it, it will be a lot of things. We're brain dumping everything. But then when we get to weekly planning, we can hide that and we can show the task calendar, and then we can make a blank weekly plan. So the one is kind of like a brain dump. The other is a more streamlined, beautified version. So we have made it all the way back now to our daily dashboard. We have worked down the time funnel. So on a daily basis, this is what you're going to look at. You're gonna see your weekly plan. I only have the one thing here, but you'll have your tasks written for the day, and you'll see the one goal that you need to work on. And so today's result, I wanna have one video outlined, let's say. So then I'm gonna pick my top 3 action items to make that thing happen. I like to have kind of like a daily just checklist. And I like to use the 4th blank to always prepare for tomorrow. So if tomorrow I need to film a YouTube video, maybe I need to make sure I'm showered and I have my outfit set out, and just make sure I'm prepared for tomorrow's thing. So 3 for today, 1 for tomorrow. Read the goal statement out loud to always keep attached to it, and then you also have your week at a glance. So it's a complex process, setting goals, at the quarterly level, setting monthly goals, at the weekly level, setting daily goals, but ultimately, all you need to do is look at this one page. You don't need to look anywhere else. You don't need to look at other widgets or other prompts or other things. Everything gets funneled down so that everything is on this one page. It's completely customizable, so if you want to add some of your own spice to it, things that you like a little better, you can certainly do that. This has been so fun. Let me know how you get on with it. I'm so excited for you to be reaching your potential every day this year. Your potential is here. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.